You're my privates. Because we will be discussing something private. What do you mean, ew? Don't get me out of here. Whoa. Wait, guys, guys, it took me like 2.5 hours to set up all this. Come on, man. You don't want to be my private? No, you don't get a choice. You don't choose the detective life, you guys. The detective life chooses you. Well, guys, we have an important case to discuss today. A case that never quite sat right with me. You look so tough right now. I'm tough. After all these years of being the stone cold hard detective, solving the most dangerous crimes in the capital city of Minklandia. Yeah, think of Holmes and think of Watson, but then think of them as way sexier and perhaps even homosexual. And that's us. Yeah, don't talk too much on my pipe, okay? I got a second hand. Oh wait, that's not how you blow a pipe. Sorry, it's kind of an anachronism. Like, I'm a zoomer. Wait, hold on. It's more like this. Right? Happy Pride Month, Private. And as you may know, it is Pride Month. And as a result, there's lots of creepy creatures and unique fellows roaming the streets. And it is our job to identify them. Wait, what does it say? Poop monster. I forgot to get rid of that. My bad. Now, where could my pipe be? A case that never quite sat right with me. Okay, welcome, guys. We have some viewers, you know, on Twitter that submitted some concerns to our concern box on twitter.com, x.com yesterday. Oh my god, this music is so loud. I have to turn it down. I'm like actually kind of listening to it. Like I'm turning into a detective. Anyways. This pipe doesn't blow just any bubbles. It blows bubblegum bubbles. And also I'm playing with a stim toy because I really want to. So if you see me like moving my arms around like under the desk, like that's just my stim toy, okay? You hear it? Yeah, just because you're a detective doesn't mean you have to stop playing with stim toys. I have a couple. So I have the purple bed. And then I have some like they're kind of like globbles, but they're not exactly like globbles. But I found them in home goods, and I just like can't find them like online for some reason. Or is it TJ Maxx? I don't know. It was one of them. But I put them in a plastic bag so they wouldn't get dirty. A pipe is basically a stim toy. Bro, you would not be able to separate me from my pipe if I was a 1930s detective, which I am. Because I think I just have like a brain that gets addicted more easily than other brains. I'm not quite sure why. Maybe it's like a sign of like low intelligence or something. Yeah, Zoomers have their Benjamins. I have my Pipejamins. Pipejamins, whatever. Actually, this is more 40s. Whatever, we're 40s. Color TV has been invented. Oha, Mikan. Guys, Japanese hasn't been invented yet, so I can't be speaking any Japanese today, okay? Anyways, guys. So, on Twitter, I opened my Dropbox that's right in front of my door, and a lot of concerned citizens have been dropping in on me. And I'm trying to have like a Jersey accent or some kind of Boston accent because I think it kind of legitimizes the whole detective thing. Color TV wasn't widespread till the 70s, yes, but there was actually an illegal color TV ring located out of northern Boston, and I stormed it by myself, and I fought off all the criminals. And now I'm here with my color TV, and I definitely don't have a Boston accent, so you guys know I'm not from Boston. I think Boston's in Massachusetts, right? Massachusetts just doesn't really seem like the state that at Boston, but then again, like Chicago doesn't seem like it would be in Illinois. Like, you know what I mean? Like when you think of like Florida, do you think of Miami? No, the capital city always got a different vibe. But anyways, Massachusetts. Hey, watch it now. Watch where you go. Watch how you talk about Chicago. Wait, what's wrong with Chicago? They have a bean. I know that. I investigated in Chicago. And I was the one who discovered the bean, you know? Anyways, nothing's wrong. I just live there. How's Chicago? Do you know that one song? And have you guys ever watched Victorious? Where there's like, I think her name is... What was the main character's name? I don't remember. Was it Victorious or was it Tori or was it Victoria? I don't know. But her sister... I think it started with an S. I couldn't do enough research to figure out what her sister's name was, but she wanted to do a one-woman show at the Performing Academy of the Arts. And she went, Chicago, Chicago, and I just remember, like, it's stuck in my head. So every time I think of Chicago, I think of that one song. Do you accept the late submission? Maybe I do, maybe I don't. What's in it for me? But anyways, we got some creepy creatures. We've got some creepy crawlies and fables and tall tales submitted into our inbox today. But unfortunately, what I have discovered is that a large amount of these creepy crawlies submitted are actually real. Because I investigated them last night on Google.com and I learned about what they are. And I'm going to teach you guys about what these disgusting little homunculi actually are. The world's a big place, you guys know. Yeah, post it in the cord. And by the cord I mean my mailbox, and by my mailbox I mean my Dropbox, and it's right in front of my door. I originally, for this stream, I was not gonna do the whole detective setup, but I was like, I don't want to do like the whole campfire gimmick toys in a row, so now I'm a detective because I use my detective brain to determine what I want my stream to be today. Anyways, so here's our first creepy creature. Okay, guys? This one was a tough case to crack open. I stayed up for many days and many nights, just searching through the catacombs of the Minkalandian National Public Library. And I had to slip a $5, you know, under the teller's desk or the library guy's desk, and I had to say, let me into the illegal books. That's your cousin, yes. I know, JV, because you submitted this. So today we're gonna figure out, and I'm gonna tell to you guys all today, what JV's cousin actually is. So, yeah, I went to the restricted wing of the library. Yeah, this is I'm Whitey, actually. He's of a similar genus. So, we call this one, this was a very real creature. It's actually located in North American waters, if you would believe me. Now, I know I have a pretty international audience because with the advent of colored TV, people from all over the world, they can tune in. Despite being the 40s. You're welcome, by the way, for the colored TV. So this actually can be found in America. This creepy creature. which is known as the cogfish. This is the cogfish. And so this actually is an invasive species in North America, and I will tell you the origins of the cogfish. So first, if you guys know Britain, they had something known as the Industrial Revolution. And in Britain, there were the cogfish in the British canals, also known as the King's Benedict Canal, where the cogfish first originated from. And it was a very small fish, but one day, Mr. Cogglesworth, family name actually named after the cogfish, because back in the day in Britain, people didn't have last names because only the rich people could have last names. But this poor man, his name was Jefferson Cogglesworth. He discovered this little fish because he was fishing in the King's Canal, and he was so hungry and he wanted food for his family. And he was so poor. He was so poor he would eat anything. He would eat gum off the sidewalks. He would climb up the Big Ben and eat the bird poop off of the claw cans. And he was so down on his luck one day, and he said, maybe I should start an OnlyFans. But he was sitting by the King's Creek and kicking his feet, and he thought, maybe I'll fish. Fishing wasn't really a big thing in Britain at the time. Most people just kind of ate sand. But Jefferson, he had an inquisitive, intuitive mind. So he sat and he kicked his feet, and he accidentally kicked a cogfish, and it died upon impact because it was such a gentle small fish. And so Jefferson was like, huh? What did I just kick? And so he picked it up with his hand, and he thought, God damn, that looks delicious. So for a while, Jefferson, he was selling cogfish to eat, you know, but they weren't called cogfish. They were just called edible delicacies, because I don't know what's up with Britain, but that's how they eat. But anyways, he ate them, and one day his wife was in the kitchen, and she came out with a bloody hand, and she went, Jefferson, I can't do this anymore. I keep cutting my hands on the sharp jaw of the cogfish. And he got an idea, and then he divorced his wife. And then Jefferson started a business of actually sticking the jaws of the cogfish together, and he would just play with them like a stim toy, because that's what he was like, and he liked to do that kind of stuff. Looking very dapper, sir. Thank you. It's actually my uniform. And so one day, the Queen of Britain came and visited, and she said, I would like to have some cogfish delicacy. And she saw him playing with the jaws of the cogfish, you know, like as a stim toy. And she said, by goodness of graciousness of God, give me 50 of those. And so she would stick 50 of the cogs together. They started calling them cogs because it made like a toy. And it was beautiful. It was like a Rube Goldberg machine, but like way before its time. And eventually they realized that they could use it to like move things, like create mod in Minecraft, which was just recently invented. And so actually they kind of used the cogfish's teeth to replicate playing Minecraft. And it was this crazy big, like it was like a whole, I don't know, like a whole thing for the Britain, and they were so happy. And so that was how the Industrial Revolution started, and he became a multi-billionaire. Eclipticat, welcome in. Thank you so much for coming in. What interests you today in my humble detective's office? And basically, he gained a family name because he was so rich, and he became known as Jefferson Cogglesworth, and he became almost Poggersworth, but actually like Coggersworth, and so he became so rich that he started the Industrial Revolution, yeah, and steampunk and stuff. And so he went to America to spread more joy of his fish and of his cogs. But the Americans didn't quite take kindly to him in the great city of Detroit, because he landed in Detroit because there is an international airport in Detroit. He was gonna land at the JFK in New York, but he was afraid of rats, so he went to Detroit instead. Okay. Yes, the cogfish is an ancestor of the fidget spinner, but we're not quite there yet. So, Mr. Cogglesworth, he landed in Detroit, and he immediately got mugged by a roaming gang of thugs. It was horrible. It was horrible. And in the scuffle, they said, "Yo, man, give me..." I don't know how to do Detroit accent. "Yo, bro, give me your cogfish, bro." And he was so upset that he threw them into the Michigan Lake. The Lake Michigan. And that was just terrible, because the cogfish, it was like, they've never been to America before. And, you know, America's a bit different than Britain, you know. There's a little bit more muggings and ruffles and tussles, and they didn't have the Industrial Revolution quite yet, so the cogfish, they were uniquely adept to this environment. They were a little bit ahead of the curve. So... Oh my god, I just realized your hair is orange. Get with the program, it's always been orange. So you guys don't have a keen eye just like me. Anyways, he dropped all of his fish into the sewer and it fled into the ocean, or the Great Lake of Michigan. And he went back to Britain because he's like, I can't do this anymore. So America actually never went through the Industrial Revolution, which is kind of a shame. Which is why Detroit looks like that, and Skid Row and stuff. Because he got mugged that one fateful day. And so the cogfish, they evolved and they grew bigger because they didn't have any enemies. And so they developed their own society with their super powerful and keen jaws. So whenever the cogfish died, they didn't have a funeral. They had a celebration of life because it meant that there was a new cog to add to the machine. So if you guys know Atlantis, a lot of people have this misconception that Atlantis is actually... I don't remember. Mikan have an orange hair. Hello? What the hell? What do you mean? Okay, anyways. So a lot of people think that Atlantis is in Georgia, but it's actually in Lake Michigan. And so they built a steampunk Atlantis, and basically it became really advanced, but then everyone got mugged in there as well. And so, yeah, so nowadays you can find only the cogfish in Lake Michigan. You can't find it anywhere else because they stopped having the Industrial Revolution in Britain. So if you ever like need factory parts, like a lot of factory parts that you see nowadays, especially like clocks and stuff, like people go fishing in the Lake of Michigan for cogfish. So yeah, basically, that's the story of the cogfish. Hope you enjoyed my research. Do you guys have any like closing thoughts or questions? Maybe about like where I acquired my research. Yeah, they're responsible for Eminem. That's true. Did he come from Detroit? I didn't know that. I kinda like the word Detroit. Like Detroit. Like I don't know what to say, but anyways, where's Chicago? I was expecting it to be in Nebraska. No, I'll show you what's really in Nebraska. Yeah, so if you're from Detroit, you don't say poggers, you say coggers around here. You know? There are some Cognacama. They typically tend to be British though. But they also tend to be old, so they don't type in chat that much. Welcome in, Bloomer. Hi everyone. I didn't really get to say hi. Hi Aiden, hi JB, hi Frost, hi Bunky Dealer, hi Suki Jukes, hi BCX, hi Burra. Did you speak to any cog fishermen? You know they're pretty reclusive. If you come out and you say hey, they'll be friendly to you. But the moment you're like, I'm here to do some research on cogfish, they kind of retreat. They retreat into their boats and they won't talk to you. So you have to be a little sneaky about it. You know, you could like kind of start out and be like, hey, I was a cog fisherman, and they'll be like, who are you with? And then you'll be like, no one. But the popo's after me. And they'll be like, yeah. Popo does tend to be after cog fishermen. And you'd be like, but I hate the police. And they'll be like, me too. And then you'll be like, Viva la Revolution! And then they'll finally show you their cog collection. I've lived in Detroit for a year, but now how is it? RoboCop is a cogfish underneath the cybernetic exterior. I wouldn't lie if I said that he was made with at least a couple cogfish parts. Nowadays, women, they make illegal jewelry out of cogfish scales just because they are an endangered species. You know? Yeah. The fastest way to offend a cog fisherman is to show them around. Just don't even do it. You'll get beat up. Cause I was pretending to be a cog fisherman, and I was invited into a fisherman's boat, and we were talking about the amazing qualities of actually cogfish bile, and I leaned over and a wrench fell out of my pocket, and I was like, it's not what it looks like, boss. And he was like, I know exactly what it's like. And he cocked a shotgun at me and he said, you got 3 minutes to get out before I blow your shit smooth off. And I ran away, but there is actually a bullet hole in my hat, but you can't tell because my hat's black. Let's just say there's a reason I'm leaving soon. Is it that bad? Oh my god, wish me luck. Good luck, Key Jingle. I did go onto a stranger's boat, but it was just for my research, okay? Usually I have you guys with me, but this time it was kind of a midnight rendezvous. Do all detectives dress like strippers? It's important to blend in with your environment, you know? And also die. Anyways, next one. Let me take a sip of my coffee. It's needed after a long day of research. So, the next one. This one. Memory shortage. Hold the phone. Why? That is so weird. Well, chill, guys, chill. You know what? I think it might be the cog fishermen. They might be messing with my wires. No, this like actually genuinely close. Hello. Is it reopening? I'm logging into Steam. I don't know why that happens. Like, why VTube Studio? My guess is it's just wine. It could be a wine thing, but I didn't even have VTS open for that long. So I don't know. Big Cog is after the mink detective. That's what they like you to think, you know. They like you to think that. Oh my god. Wait, hold on. There we go. There. Wait, my freaking hat and everything. My hat and my everything. Wait, everything got removed. Wait, chill. I turned it back on. I turned it back on. There we go. I put my hat back on as well. God damn it, my alarm got ruined. What else did I have? I had glasses and a pipe. I'm so pissed off. Don't even talk to me. Don't even talk to me. There we go. And don't even ask me what my pipe is named, because I don't care. I don't understand why I'm having so many memory shortages recently. There we go. They stripped me of my uniform, they brought me out onto the streets, and they beat me. It's not Denchi's fault. I think it's Wine's fault. It's my guess. Come on, Wine guys. Chop chop. Next creature in this world. Alright, this one is a bit more modern. Perhaps you've seen it, but only if you live in Europe, okay? This one is actually a Europe only creature. So we're gonna just... So these are actually called toilet goyles. Now this one is elusive, but it can pop up time to time in residential areas, but most often they're in the city, in castles. Now picture this. You're in Europe, like Lithuania or Liechtenstein or something, and you're driving on the highway and you come across a castle and it's starting to get really late at night. What is one thing 90% of castles have in common? Gargoyles. Or toy for short. Not thrones. Not anymore. They have toilet goyles. Toilets. Gargoyles. So back in the day, when religion was real, they used to put gargoyles on the front of all castles because they wanted to make them like ward off the evil spirits, right? But since religion isn't real anymore, the goyles have nothing to do. And also, they're all female. And you might be wondering why, but if you pronounce it, here's this crazy thing I learned from my research. Say gargoyle. Say it out loud. 3, 2, 1, gargoyle. Now get rid of the word gar, which is a fish that can be found in the world. Goyle. Now, get rid of the Boston accent. 3, 2, 1. Girl. That means this is a subtle nod to the fact that all gargoyles are actually female. Nice, everyone. The goyle unemployment is horrible, I'm telling you guys. So they've been, not only are they out of a job, but they're hungry. They hunger for the souls of the damned. But they're scared of humans still, because they weren't meant for the human world. They were meant for the spirit realm. So they get rid of they try to find where human spirits are left. And what happens every time you poop? You leave a little bit of yourself in the toilet. And a lot of people, guys, I have a sore throat. A lot of people forget to flush. Which means the toilet goyles, they come out. They come out to feast on what's left behind. So, what do you do if you come across a toilet goyle? First of all, immediately close the door. You've trapped them in with their only food source. Also, they're naturally drawn to it. So if you ever want to attract a toilet goyle, has to be in a toilet because they've evolved. So you can just leave poop outside, okay? It doesn't work like that. Also, most humans don't poop outside. So you gotta leave the toilet lid open, and you gotta leave the door open, and you gotta be in a castle, and they'll come, and they'll scurry into the bathroom. And once they're in there, you get the string that's attached to the door, and you yank it, and it's closed. And so the toilet goyles, they'll be trapped in there. And they won't even care. They'll be like, a delicious feast for me. But they only have one source of food. And what happens when you keep a human locked in a bunker, in a food bunker? They run out of food. And there's only been one case of a toilet goyle being smart enough to learn how to harvest poop, but we're not gonna get into that. This is a little bit too advanced for today. And honestly, my research doesn't even cover the depth and breadth of problems that inspires. But anyways, the toilet goyle is very easy to trick, and they're easy to get rid of, and they're very scared of you. But the problem is, you don't want your poop to go missing. You know, your pipes hunger too. Yeah, don't put the full lid down. Keep the lid up. Are you family friendly? I don't think so. I don't think so. Like, if you're under 18, don't watch me. Please. Anyways. Yeah, times are tough for the toilet girls, I'll tell you that. So, if you're in Britain, or if you're in Europe, actually. I don't think Britain's in Western Europe. If you're in Eastern Europe, or anywhere with a castle, really, either you flush the toilet immediately after using it, or you trap all the toilet goyles. And then they starve to death. So just don't use that bathroom for like a week or something. And then slowly their soul will wither away. Bye! And basically, yeah. So it's pretty easy, you know, easy to get rid of. Easy to trap. But what happens if you say, I like the company, I don't get many goyles out here, you know? What do? And you're just a lonely, young, sensitive man in his 20s, and the whole world is against you. Would you allow the goyles to stay? No, because they actually release a toxic gas into the atmosphere that follows them wherever they go. So if you don't flush, they'll eat your waste, and it will be secreted back into the air that you breathe. So it's a very difficult situation. You can also spray Raid on the toilet goyles, but sometimes, if frightened enough, they're liable to fight back, and then they might grab the Raid can from you and spray it in your eyes, and then you'll be blind for life. And it actually happened to John Dusseldorf in Germany, age 32 in 2011, and he's permanently blind even after LASIK surgery. What if it's worth it to have a toilet goyle? There are toilet goyle handlers out there that take them to like educational events, and like honestly, toilet goyles are pretty kind, like they're kind animals. But the problem is, they're toxic, so you always gotta have a mask on. So if you do manage to trap a live goyle, you can bring it to a sanctuary in northern France. But on the whole way there on the car, you gotta wear a gas mask, or just keep the windows down or something, you know, like. And also make sure that the cage is not wide enough for them to slip through the cracks, because they can do some slipping. Handle with care. And also toilet goyles, they can get pretty antsy. They need to be oiled up every couple hours. They need to have some contact with water. So like you need to have like more than just a bowl available for them, you know? Sometimes AI data centers do harvest toilet goyle gas for energy production, but there's not just ethical concerns for like the goyles themselves, but the people. Like it's giving them like a cancerous byproduct, you know. So it's important to just keep all toilet goyles away from you, especially if you're in Europe. If you go to Europe, like, and you think like, oh, I'm safe because I'm staying in like a city, like I'm staying in like the Vatican or something, like, don't think that the goyles won't escape and then go to your Airbnb, because they're known to travel a couple hours at a time. And they travel at night when everyone's asleep, so like you could be sleeping when the goyles will infest, so like always remember to flush on time. They excrete the gas. Yeah, so basically that's the toilet goyles. Let me know if you have any questions, like toilet goyle eating habits, if you have any questions about like toilet goyle energy consumption, hobbies, intelligence. They force feed data center toilet goyles to increase gas production. It's extremely unethical, but a lot of people say that it's good for waste management in the US because a lot of people be pooping. That's just the thing that happens. Oh, I gotta run a stupid ad. I go, okay, I'll run the ad now and we'll just like chat. We'll just chat. Do their habits change with seasons? That's a good question. So in the winter, toilet goyles, they become a little bit more stationary. That's because it is so cold and they don't have fur to protect themselves. Nice thumbnail. Thank you, Lay. Oh my god, that thumbnail took me like 30 minutes. I was really proud of it though. I was like, that's a nice creature. I thought you meant toilet goyles and a certain Meowth accent. That is what I mean. What kind of groups do they live in? They live in European groups. Can they be eaten if prepared? I mean, of course the Southerners asking that. So, because toilet goyles, they live off poop and they excrete a noxious gas when eaten. They're not safe for human consumption. It's kind of like pufferfish goyle. Like if you thoroughly clean the meat and then you feed them like eggs and like rotten cabbage, they may be able to be eaten. But oftentimes the toilet goyles will be so unhappy that they will just like not grow to adulthood age because they are like they don't have enough nutrients in their soul to keep them healthy. Yeah. So that's basically what's going on with toilet goyles. And next we're gonna be moving on to a little bit more rural of a creature. So this one isn't found anywhere where there's particularly people, but this one is found more in the outback. So perhaps if you live in Australia or New Zealand, you've seen these creatures, but they only come out at night. First of all, they only come out at night, and they feast on the souls of humans, which I know sounds scary, but it's actually not that bad. It's kind of like a mushroom, you know, like after you die. That is not a patoo. I have a little bit of a hiccup. Goodness. Yes, my carcass is immune, so we're gonna call these yeah, these have a pretty ancient name, you know. It's not easy to pronounce in English. I'm struggling to recall. I'm gonna get my my aviary dictionary real quick. So it's called tranquilizer bursts. So do you guys remember when wait, tranquilizer dactyls? Yes, I remember. Okay, so do you guys remember when I said that they weren't dangerous? Well, actually I lied. I was trying to not scare you guys. I was trying not to scare you guys because I thought that if I told the truth right off the bat, you guys might get scared. But I want to like let you know that it's like okay, like there's things you can do to avoid them. It's just like listen up, and then you'll never die. So basically, first of all, you're safe if you live anywhere but Australia. or New Zealand. You know? Yeah, just don't go to Australia. But if you live in Australia, that doesn't mean you'll die necessarily. It just means you have to be a little bit more careful in your day-to-day routine. So first of all, the tranquilizer dactyls can only be found in 2 places. They can only be found by waterfalls or in the outback. And the reason why is because, first of all, they're very common in the outback, and they cause the outback to be so dry. And you might have thought, like, well, it's because of the sun. No, it's because they actually suck all the moisture out of the air with their big mouth, like Kirby. Sigil, thank you so much for following. Welcome. So yeah, that's why the outback is so dry. And New Zealand has waterfalls, so they go and they live by the waterfalls. But basically, the reason why there's not as many of them in New Zealand is because actually they're a staple of the New Zealander diet. I don't know why the New Zealanders are able to resist the tranquilizer in them. They're a little bit different than Australian people. So they get harvested. As a result, there's not that many of them. So New Zealand is still a little bit more lush. And I think it's because they walk around barefoot all the time. So anyways, yeah. So what happens if you come across a tranquilizer dactyl in the wild? First of all, stand completely still. And close your eyes and hold your breath. This is like the major thing you have to do if you come across a tranquilizer dactyl, because basically they can detect a liquid. Also, don't pee yourself, because then they'll get really scared. So if you close your eyes, they can't detect the liquid of your eyeballs. Don't cry either. And don't inhale or exhale, because your breath has some liquid too, and they really detect water. They're kind of like eye gnats. If you've ever been to the United States and you got an eye gnat in your eye, then you know. Okay. So just hold completely still, just close everything. Just hold your armpits really close in case you're sweating, because Australia's really hot. I'll just stand still, and they might fly past you and they might not even notice. So what happens if you're noticed? Also, they have really bad eyesight. So if you come across them at night, you're more likely to be safe. And they typically come out at night. They only come out in the daytime if they're startled in their nest by a loud sound. So if you're in the outback, you have to be quiet. So the tranquilizer dactyls, if they are threatened by you and they like notice you and they want to eat you, they'll perch themselves across from you. They're not cowards. They never attack from the back. They always attack from the front, just because they're so powerful. So they open their mouths and they start to suck, and they suck, and they suck. And you feel yourself get pulled towards them. And at the same time that they're sucking you, they're also sucking all the liquid out of the air. So you might feel like yourself like kind of like being pulled towards the tranquilizer dactyl, but it's actually not your body being pulled towards. It's actually all the liquid in your body, all the water in your body, which is insane. But that's why the sucking is a little bit slow, because you're not entirely made out of like water. You've got like other things in the way, like flesh. Yeah. Drain the water from your body. Make sure you're not sweating. Always take anti-sweating pills. They sell them at like every drugstore in Australia. Just like you can also wear like kind of like a plastic cover. Like if you're ever in tranquilizer dactyl territory, you just kind of cover yourself with like a dehumidifying bodysuit. That also helps a lot. But like, you know, influencers, they've been going out and taking like photos in their bikinis and stuff because it's so nice, like with the cactuses. But you have to like really like stay safe. So like even if it's ugly and they have to be suited up. So they'll be pulling themselves towards you and they'll be sucking, and you'll feel like it's like you'll be feeling like you're scared, like you're gonna die, and that might cause you to panic even more. But don't panic! Because if you panic, then more water escapes and more pee and more tears. You know? There's no minks that suck, okay, bro? Minks don't suck. Minks are awesome. And basically, what you gotta do is you gotta allow it to suck you, and don't struggle, because struggle gets faster, right? So there's 2 points of attack that you can do to a tranquilizer dactyl. when you get close enough, you might feel your body start to freeze up if you're struggling, right? And this is because their sucking agent, it actually creates like an aura of tranquility. And you might think that's like, oh, it's called a tranquilizer dactyl because you're like being tranquilized by something. No! It's because you feel at peace and you kind of want to die as you get closer. And you're like, actually, I don't mind being sucked, you know? That's what a lot of, especially men, for some reason men are less immune to wanting to be sucked. Not sure why. So when you get really close, you have to clear your mind. You have to allow it to put you closely, but don't get to the event horizon. Don't pass their beak. Okay? Once you're in their beak, you're done. Okay? See, this sounds like a good time. It's already working on you guys. So then, what you gotta do, when you're just about to hit the beak, but not quite yet, you gotta reach both arms around, put them in front of you as quick as possible, and you gotta poke it in the 2 eyes. Poke it in the eyes. And then the tranquilizer dactyl will blink repeatedly, and it will shut its beak. And then your feeling of tranquility will be lost. And so this is the part where a lot of people fail. A lot of people fail because they get kind of like, they're like, ah, what do I do? Like they're scared. Like they're kind of like, all the adrenaline kicks in. Like they're no longer tranquil. Like don't use this time to be frazzled. What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to immediately turn around. You're supposed to duck behind the dactyl, and you're supposed to like kind of like attack from the back, which I know is cowardly, but it's a life or death situation. You put your arm around its neck, kind of stun lock, and then you flex really hard. So if you're a twink, you might die. If you're not a twink, then maybe you'll survive. If you're a woman, you can do it too. You just gotta do a little bit. Work out to the gym. So you just always, what I say, like if you go to Australia, you gotta work out. Because, I mean, God forbid a kangaroo gets you. Even worse, a tranquilizer dactyl. And then you have to squeeze really hard. And then its mouth will open up, right? And its mouth is gonna open up. And you gotta stick your fingers in it. And he won't expect it so quickly because he's not in sucking mode. He's just in breathing mode, right? And then basically he'll be like, and then you shoot him in the head. And then he dies. So that's how you escape the tranquilizer dactyls. It's kind of like a multi-step process, but there's actually some classes that they sell in Australia. They don't do it in New Zealand because in New Zealand they're only like by the waterfalls because they like liquid, so they go to the waterfalls. So you'll find that fighting tranquilizer dactyls is actually really easy. And basically just get out of it. I don't think I'm emotionally prepared to visit Australia. I promise you guys it's easy. They also do like courses at the airport. So if you're like in South America, they have a couple like airport courses and stuff. Yeah, you have to choke it out and stick your fingers in it, and basically, yeah. Huh. That's the latest tech. Is to coat your body in a spray made from the gas of a toilet oil. When it mixes with your sweat, it creates a tranquilizer dactyl poison. That's true, but it's kind of expensive, so only rich people and like influencers will do that. But you know, sometimes they're like kind of gaining a resistance to it. So tranquilizer dactyls will actually like fight back, and then they'll still eat you anyways, which is like why influencer deaths are on the rise. A lot of influencers are being told to stay out of Australia. Australia is like losing money, which is why they're selling the suits now. You know? Exactly. Can I just have shot him right from the start? No, because the moment you get your gun out and you move, that already creates a little bit of sweat under your armpit, and then you get sucked in, and then you might get tranquilized, and your gun might get tranquilized. So yeah, if you think that this is smut, and you think that this is a woman problem, then this just goes to show that men are already being hypnotized by the tranquilizer dactyl. And see, I told you guys, men are more susceptible, but then you didn't believe me, and then you became in trouble. What if it just sucks the bullet in? If you're at that point, you're too far gone. You have probably 2 minutes to call your family and tell them that you love them. What is your opinion on axolotls? They are actually weak to tranquilizer dactyls. Yeah. So yeah. Don't go to Australia. If you go to New Zealand though, if you survive the tranquilizer dactyl, you do get the ability to try. They sell them New Zealand McDonald's, so if you ever go, then you can try some tranquilizer dactyl. And honestly, I don't think it's that good. It's kind of like pufferfish where it's hyped up. It's like, oh, it's poisonous, but it tastes so good. But then if you actually try it, it doesn't taste that good. It tastes like rubbery chicken. You hear this? That's my squishy. Next one, guys. Are you ready for this one? So I want chat to let me know what country or what like location they think this creature feature is from. What kind of environment do you think they're born in? Huh? India, that's very close. You're almost there. Just go a little bit to the top right. Brazil? I think they can survive in Brazil, but I don't know if they're Brazilian. They don't really like to party or anything. Europe? No, you are wrong. Russia? No, you're wrong. So this is actually a variant of the Bengus lion. So we'll just start with that. So these are actually called the Eastern Bengus lions. So you might think that you know the Benguses, so you know the Bengus lions, but these are just a little bit different. They've got Eastern mannerisms. So first of all, where are the Bengus lions located? Mongolia and Myanmar. Yes, because they were both colonized by Japan in the 1930s and 40s. And the Japanese actually did have a Bengus lion that they took from... They used to live in Brazil. They're extinct now. But they took them and they released them because they used to use them as hunting dogs because they have a very keen sense of hearing. That's why they're called the Eastern, because ear, E-A-R, Eastern, ear, exactly. So the Japanese dropped them in Myanmar and Mongolia, and they just kind of survived. They're struggling in Myanmar right now because of the wars and stuff, but in Mongolia they tend to use them as hunting dogs, but they're not easy to bond with. They have to be tamed. Like they're kind of like not like a dog, but more like a lion, you know, like gotta have it on a chain type shit. They're related to the Dingus lions, but like they're about as close as a human is to a rat, so it's different. So the Bengus lions are in the genus of Dingus bobingus, which is their main family tree, also related to the western and southern Bengus lions, but those are extinct now because of habitat destruction and deforestation. It's very sad. So nowadays, yeah, only those two countries. So the reason why the Mongolians were able to even tame them in the first place is because they can do throat singing, which is a really advanced form of singing, where it's like, I can't do it because I'm not Mongolian, and only they're born with it, so only they can tame it. But I heard that you can do throat singing even if you're not Mongolian, but you have to kind of like go through the trials and tribulations of rural Mongolian life. So like if you want to have a pet Bengus lion, you got to move to Mongolia, you got to take throat singing classes. It's just a whole thing. So yeah, most people typically don't get a Bengus lion as their first pet, not even as a advanced pet, you know. So on the endangerment scale, I would give this a 2 out of 5. Like they're endangered, but they're not critical. Like you can go to any pet store in Mongolia and get a Bengus lion, but you know, you have to have the ability to even tame it, otherwise you'll die. Yeah, well, Mongolian citizenship, like, a lot of people think, like, oh, if I get Mongolian citizenship, I can get Eastern Bengus lion taming powers. But the thing is, what they don't tell you is that to become a Mongolian citizen is actually harder than just learning to throat sing and, like, learn the ways of Mongolian life, because you also have to learn Mongolian cooking, and you have to learn the Mongolian language. So that's another thing, and also you have to live as a Mongolian, and you have to survive the 80 trials of the Eastern Sun Mountain, which a lot of people don't survive. Even children that they set off into the mountains. That's why Mongolian kids are so tough, because a lot of them, they have to survive the trials. It's pretty crazy. Anyways, yeah, so the Bengus lion is best known for their keen hearing. And they're really good at semitones, which is why Mongolian singing, like, you have to do the semitones and the split tones and stuff, because they like that. And it shows that you're not just a normal human, but you're like a superhuman, and you're like connected on a spiritual level. It's kind of like an avatar when you take the end of your brain and you stick it into that pterodactyl creature, and then you can like tame it. It's kind of weird, and it feels like human animal sex, and it's just kind of gross, like, to watch. I don't really like watching that. If you die in the 79th trial, you can't just say that you did it, but you can be reincarnated as a higher being. Like, you can be reincarnated as a Dalit in India. Otherwise, you just get kind of like a randomized spot in the karmic cycle. So Buddha might come to you and be like, you have two options. You can either be reincarnated as an ant or a lion or a bee or a human or a tractor trailer, or you can get a guaranteed spot as a Dalit in India. And you kind of get to choose, do I want to be Indian, or do I, like, take my chance? But a lot of people, like, they want to be a Dalit. Like, honestly, I don't think I'd mind being a Dalit, so, yeah. Buddha is Mongolian, but, it depends on who you ask. But anyways, the Eastern Bengus lions have a really good hearing. As you can tell, their ears are inside out, and they just evolved that way because, there used to be an extinct genus of the sucking birds, and you don't even want to know what the sucking birds are on. They're very, very dangerous. So, and they're very quiet, and when they come by, it's like shoo, and you don't even know what happens, and then your head gets cut off. That's because they suck the blood out of your neck. It's pretty bad. So yeah, Bengus lions, they came to evolve to be able to hear really, really well, and as a result, they have a keen taste for music. You know? As a Brazilian, we have similar rituals. We have to survive alone a whole week in a favela when you're 6 years old. Yes, that's why, actually, Bengus lions used to be really big in Brazil, too. Because they're nomadic creatures, you know, they'll hunt for a proper home. Because I'm sleepy, I don't know why. And so, the Bengus lions, they exist on a steady diet of meat. Especially herbivore meat, so they eat horses, they eat cows. But in extreme situations, they're known to eat humans if they're starving and the human is bad at singing. So if you ever find yourself alone with a Bengus lion and they're looking awfully hungry, and so are you, start singing, boy. They have been known to spare Filipinos. So if you're Filipino, it also means you're good at singing. I'm not quite sure. I haven't done enough research to see why they're so good at singing. But if you're Filipino, you have a higher chance of survival than, say, being German. Hello, Raiders! Hello, privates. Welcome into my office. What brings you here today? Today we're on a case. We're on a case that never quite sat right with the rest of us. The Eastern Bengus lions. Now, guys in the chat, raise your hand if you're Filipino. And then raise your hand if you're Mongolian. And raise your hand if you're Brazilian. And everyone else, don't put your hands up. And then if your hand is up, put your hand down. And if you just put your hand down after putting your hand up, then do the Macarena. And then let me watch. And then stop. My name is Mikan. And today, we're investigating tall tales and fables that most people think aren't true, but actually they are true. They just don't have internet access because they're poor. Can't confirm, we joke about how we can't let them in the karaoke. Exactly. So even though you can master semitones, also some Indian people also can master the art of Bingus line ownership, but it's difficult, you know. And also, they don't do well in households that fight. You know, mom and dad about to get divorced type stuff. Anyways, chap, I'll take a drag from my pipe. What were you guys doing today? Welcome in, Moxie. If you guys don't know, this is kind of confidential information, but I'll share it with ya. Moxie's actually my brother. But not my blood brother, but my brother from another mother, but technically my father, because he is my rig sibling. Did you guys know that? Moxie's actually one of my first siblings. Isn't that crazy? Huh? It's true, it's true. You got me into Squeakross today, thanks a lot. You're welcome, Private, you're welcome. So, yeah. So, what of the Bingus lion can be eaten? Yes, Bingus lions are eaten. They're eaten in Bhutan. But the thing is, it's kind of an immoral practice. They're usually emaciated, they're uncomfortable. You have to play soothing music just to sedate them, and sometimes people are playing recordings of Mongolian throat singing, but it makes them upset because they can't see the singer. But with the modern adaptations and technology, they can play on the smartboard videos of Mongolian throat singing, and it actually calms down the Bingus lion so they can be eaten. But human and animal rights organizations have been fighting against the eating of eastern Bingus lions because it's just so sad, you know? It's so sad. And it's kind of like the dog festival in China. They have a Bingus lion festival in Bhutan, which is Myanmar. After the war, after the Great War in Myanmar and like the government takeover, people just don't have as much to eat, and the coal briquette business is kind of failing. But you know, as long as ExxonMobil survives, the Bingus lions will continue to be eaten. That's why we have to stop using plastic containers and start using glass. You guys don't get it, but it's okay, because I'm not gonna explain it to you. And basically, yeah. So let me know if you guys have any questions about Bingus lions. Like, what happens if you sing? If you sing badly, and then the Bingus lion attacks you, like, what will happen to you? So first of all, Bingus lion attacks are almost always fatal, unless you have a weapon to defend yourself. They are incredibly violent. They will rip your ears off first, because you don't need them, because you're so bad at singing, and then they'll rip your mouth off. And then they'll rip your nose off, and then they'll rip your hands off. Because they're very vengeful creatures, you know? They're valiant but vengeful creatures, so they attack with a reason. And you must deem yourself worthy to survive. So Filipinos have a 62% survival rate, but the average American has as low as a 7% survival rate. And most of the time, only teen girls survive because they tend to be better at singing for some reason than other people. Yeah, they attack your hands so that you can't even write music ever again. It's terrible. So, you know, you might be wondering, Michael Jackson actually had a Bingus lion. So he met with the Mongolian Music Association in 1991? Or, yeah. And they awarded him a Bingus lion. But it could only be near him because he was the only one who could sing well. And he couldn't take care of the Bingus lion full time. So he had to actually put his driver, if you guys know his driver, he put his driver and his chauffeur into music classes so the driver could maintain the Bingus lion for him. But the problem was, the driver just wasn't good enough, and he actually got maimed in an accident with the Bingus lion. It took like 7 people to subdue him, and his name was Sparkle Paws, and basically they had to put down Sparkle Paws, and it was a whole thing. So yeah, Bengus lions are protected species in America. You can't really own them. So if you're American, don't even think about it unless you want to become Mongolian. And yes, if you were wondering, it might be a little bit racist, and I tried to keep this environment like everyone can join, but let's be honest to Koreans, K-pop is a government operation, a psyop, to cull the Bengus lion population. Because they're teaching the youth that this is what music is, but it's not. And then the youth will sing to the Bengus lions, and they won't be able to get tamed, so they won't be able to live a nice life in the wild. And then all the sounds of the drills and the construction from nearby construction projects will just make them all kill themselves. So that's why the Koreans are trying, even the North Koreans are trying to keep the Bengus lions out, because it's just too much for them to deal with. But the Mongolians, they do consider it like a way of life. Like they have to like mesh themselves in with nature. So that being said, if you want to see a real Bengus lion, you have to meet with the owner first. It has to be in a controlled environment. It has to be in Mongolia. A lot of people can go to Myanmar for it. It is cheaper to meet a Bengus lion in Myanmar, but a lot of the time they're just not like well fed. They're not well taken care of. So yeah. And don't even get me started on Eurovision. That's basically like European K-pop. Guys, I'm so dizzy right now. And I actually think it's a conspiracy theory to get me to eat. The government, the United States government. This is why I didn't want to set up shop in freaking Chicago, because the government came up with this psyop to get me to eat more, called making me dizzy when I don't eat. But I really don't want to eat. We probably shouldn't even get into what Justin Bieber was. That was step 1 of the fucking operation. If you want to know the real fiends that are against a Bengus lion populations coming back up, the answer is P. Diddy. He's a top 10 reason. Top 10er. Second is Jeffrey, but I won't get into that. Next creature. Oh my god, guys. I am like seriously, I don't know why. Not the diddler. Alright, so this one is a bit tough to talk about, because I know a lot of people, they've actually had encounters with them. But these are called the diddler rats. And I know, trigger warning, close your eyes, guys. It's a bit much. It's a bit much to have on tape. But it needs to be talked about, damn it! I'll tell you guys a secret. Did you guys know I used to have a younger sister? It's difficult. I need to take a hit off my pipe when I talk about it, because it's just too much for me! What happened? What happened, Private Mikan? I don't want to talk about it! I said I don't want to talk about it! Okay, fine. No case must go unsolved. Let's discuss my dark history with the diddler rats. So the first thing you might be thinking is that the diddler rats, I mistyped it, are actually bats, but the answer is it's not true. They just disguise themselves as bats to get you. Wait, I fucking misspelled again. Okay, there, the diddler rats. I had a younger sister, and one day she went into a cave. She went into a cave in western Northern Carolina. And she was seeking refuge after the storms. The monsoons, if you will. If you're Northern Western Carolinian, you'll know. And she thought she saw a bat. And she thought it's fine. Bats don't go after humans. But it wasn't a bat. It was a diddler rat disguised as a bat. No, sorry, thanks so much for the follow. Welcome aboard. Anyways, it swooped down. And you won't believe what it did to her. What's in the name? It stabbed her to death. It was horrible. It was really bad. Yeah, we had to call in like the DA and all. Like it was really not good. Yeah, so it stabbed her to death, and they're kind of dishonest. So that's why they call them diddler rats, because they tell you little riddles. They ask you little riddles, and if you can't answer, then they stab you. So theory has it that they tried to riddle her. But she just couldn't get away, so they diddled her with a knife in the neck! My god, I don't want to talk about this. It's dark. It's dark. But anyways, the threat level on this one, it's high. It's high, guys. It's a high threat level. Because the problem is, diddler rats don't just reside in any cave. They reside anywhere that has the overhead awning, which, boom, dun, dun, that's anywhere with that freaking roof. So if it ever rains heavily and you're wondering, like, should I get out of my car? You should get a lookout for diddler rats before you open your garage, because they might be on there. So yeah. And the threat level is high because you never know what riddles they will tell you. And so and the mark of the diddler rat is they don't just say riddle me this. They say diddle me this. And you have just 20 seconds. Just 20 seconds. Sometimes even 10. To answer a question. So here's an example of a diddler riddler rat riddle. Okay. Wood had 13 hearts, but no other organs. I don't even know the answer to that one. Oh! So yeah, if you're ever in northern Western Carolina, like, a lot of people are staying safe by covering their necks up. Because that's where they tend to aim, because it's a very exposed part of your body. Also, stay indoors when it's raining, like, if you're just ever out, like, on the highway and your car runs out of gas, just stay in your car till it stops raining. They don't like the sun. They like the rain. They like darkness. Most of all, they like the rain. If you ask them a riddle back, they might stab themselves in the neck. But also, it kind of depends on how they're feeling that day. And you don't want to take the chances it's a 50-50 on whether you'll die. They are not related to the Sphinx. You might think that they are related, but those are actually native Egyptian. These are Native American, native to the Americas. So you might be wondering why Native Americans have names that are like Rising Sun or like Eastern River Goddess. Like if you've ever, or like Chief Logwater, you know? That's because they grew up in tune with the environment. Just like the Mongolians grew up in tune with I don't even remember what those are called. Oh my god, I'm so tired. Or I'm just really hungry, I think. A deck of playing cards is 13 hearts. Whoa, Cappy got it! Cappy would survive. So what a lot of people have been doing nowadays is number one, yes, you can wear a bulletproof neck and a scarf. And you might be able to fight back in hand-to-hand combat. But if you're just a defenseless child, what some people have managed to do is get away with it by pretending to be deaf and doing sign language on the Riddler Diddler rats. So if you can do sign language, it has to be real sign language. You can't be bad at it. Like, so a lot of people have been learning sign language. But personally, I'm not wasting my time doing that. Thanks, Mikan. I'm moving to a pueblo without awning now. You're welcome. So the extinction rate is, unfortunately, they used to have really low populations. But with the advent of Canadian lumber There's more houses being built in America to this day with awnings. So if you're ever in northern Western Carolinas, get a house without awnings. And if you have awnings, tear them down. And even if you don't have an awning, even your mailbox could be enough just to host one riddler diddler rat temporarily. Shooting them won't work! Because then they'll attack you en masse, because when they die, they release pheromones. And then all the other riddler diddler rats come at once, and it's like a swarm of bees, and then you'll really die. I still wonder why they're rats, because they're freaking liars! They look like giraffes. I know, don't they? Yeah. They look like small targets, but not when there's a million. You guys have never been in the middle of a diddler rat storm. Native Americans call me Broken Wind. Alright, bro, you got me. Guys, I'm so dizzy. I don't understand why though, like... I feel like I eat good, like I'm eating my vegetables, I'm eating my fruits. I wanted to go... Wait. Hold on. Wait. I have to Google something really quickly. Damn it! Damn it. Okay, anyways. No, not a caffeine crash. I just didn't eat today. I had yogurt, but that was about it. Mikan all he eats is beets and salad and chicken every once in a while. I want chicken. Anyways. So. Here's a really important one. And this one is basically the last one we're gonna go over. This is the last one we're gonna go over, and this is a case that never truly quite sat right with me. And you might be thinking, what the fuck is that? I've done enough research to know that this thing may or may not be. I haven't done enough research. Oh god, this one's gonna be hard to type out. A female variant of the Sakanakama. Now you might be thinking, what? But Sakanakama don't look like that. They tend to be blue. Here's where you're misled. Female Sakanakama are a little bit bigger. Just the way I like them. Anyways, they're a little bit bigger. And there's a little bit more sexual dimorphism at play here. And basically, you never want to be trapped in the same ocean as a female Sakanakama, because they'll lure you in with false promises of things that only you could ever want. It's kind of like, you know, when they say like the devil comes to you in the form that they want that you want the most. That's how the female Sakanakama attracts its prey. You know? Don't let those lips trick you. So this is an example of a female Sakanakama that caters to me. Wanna know why? Cause her light. It shows what you want to see. I don't know what it looks like, guys. What does it look like for you? What does it look like for you guys? Because for me, it looks like something I've always wanted in this world. And also, they can speak. You know, Sakanakama, they can only speak in little vague sounds and whatnot. But this is... They can speak full sentences, and I can almost make out what she's saying. I can read her lips, and she's saying, I want you to get Chikawa plushies with me. Yeah, why is there a floating tummy in the middle of the ocean? God, the horror! Guys, don't let it happen. Do you guys remember when the ancient fisherminks, they would talk about sirens? Yeah. Well, these are the modern day versions. This is what's a remnant of them. Hi, Kyrie. Welcome in. How do we counter this horrible creature? So first of all, you have to listen to Manosphere podcasts. So like Andrew Tate, Clavicular, like you gotta listen to the likes of them. And you might become a homosexual. Pride Month, and if you become a homosexual, you might be able to resist the whims and the urges of the female Sakanakama. But if she disguises herself as a male, then you're doomed. Wingstop sounds delicious. Yeah. It looks like the abstract concept of making up for lost time. If I squint, I can see it too. What if the lure turns into a male Sakanakama? You can't let it know you're gay. Okay? If you sniff Tate's chair like Aiden did, you'll 100% be immune. So here's the best thing for you if you're asexual. If you're asexual, then the female Nakama cannot lure you in. And so what's the endangerment rate? About 1%, not even 1%. Oh my god, they're so endangered. About 1% of all Sakanakama, less than maybe 0.5%, are female. So basically, if the male Sakanakama start reproducing with male Sakanakama only, then maybe the female Sakanakama will die out. But the thing is, most male Sakanakama don't live to tell the tale, because when the male Sakanakama tries to mate with a female, she absorbs him. And then she has babies. So basically, yeah, that's how that works. But male Sakanakama can adopt. So if you can adopt, you should do that. Remember, adopt or shop. Sigma males will not survive the female Nakama, bro. And the worst part is, they can be found in any ocean, any saltwater ocean in the world. But also, it will be the best experience of your entire life. Just those 10 seconds, you might think, I don't need women. I hate women. But then, she goes, hey boy. And then you mate with her, and then basically it's awesome, but then you die. So, it's kind of like vaping, or like doing cooking. Now guys, I have to be honest with yourself. I have to be honest with myself here. I am really dizzy. And I think it's because the United States government slipped something into my coffee. And she can mate with the Chumbas, but you don't wanna create female Chumbas. That might cause a problem. And basically, yeah, so I think I need to go eat, because the United States government is trying to force me to eat by making my tummy rumble and making me really dizzy. So basically, I'll see you guys tomorrow. For something. Guys, what are we gonna do tomorrow? I'm curiously. We need to crack the case open of what we're gonna do tomorrow. And I kinda wanna play Roblox with you guys. I don't know what though. We could do Roblox, or we can do slime. Actually, let's do a vote. Let's do a vote. / poll. Making slime. Oh wait. What should we do tomorrow? Playing Roblox obby with viewers. Wait, I can't even write with viewers. Roblox obby with viewers. God, I can't type. My hands are so shaky. Or slime hand cam. Let me know, guys. Let me know. We'll do both of them eventually, but I want to know what you guys want to do tomorrow. The vote depends on what time the stream will be. I'm thinking later in the night, probably like around 20 EST. Slime hand cam. Okay, guys. I'm gonna have to go buy slime materials. Let me see if it's Sunday, so I don't know if the stores will be open. But I'll go see, okay? I'll go see. And I'll talk to you guys. I'll talk to you guys later. I know the stream was like a really silly idea, but I want to thank you guys for coming, even though it was short and it was dumb. I didn't know. I just wanted to do it for some reason. Bye. I don't know what I'm gonna eat. I think I'm gonna have corn. Anyways, bye-bye. Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye. Let me read someone.